This is Cash with Register Equipment. Today I wanted to go over a 2020 Clark that is a lease return from Cabot Construction Supplies, and I want to take a little bit of a closer look at some of the things that I look at when I take in a lease return to make sure that it's a high quality unit that's been well taken care of. So one of the first things you always want to look at is how straight the LBR is. So this is where you get all your impacts. This is where you can tell a lot by how straight this is right here on how well the forklift's been taken care of. Second thing is that this right here, it doesn't matter how much paint or you can't rebondo any of this type of stuff. These fenders, I make sure those are straight. The other thing while we're looking at tires is that, are all the tires matching or are they worn down? So when I get a lease return that has tires that are worn down, that often indicates to me that regular upkeep and maintenance may have been skipped over in some areas. These came with the forklift. These are the forklifts that I prefer to take in on lease most often. The other thing, what I look at the pedals. These are all original pedals right here. Everything is matching. This is an original floor mat on it. It has scuffs, it has wear marks, but this is what I want to see, that what type of condition is this floor mat in? What type of environment is it in? So the other thing, I look at the steering wheel. Does it match the hours? How smoothed out is the patina? So you have some original patina here, but it's well taken care of. This right here, probably actually just need to tighten that. But this shows, this is a forklift with 5,000 hours, but it's a very well taken care of forklift, 5,000 hours. I also see this is rubber. The rubber items, outside forklifts these things will deteriorate very quickly. The plastic things, stuff like this, is it in good condition or has it been beat up, cracked? But forklift like this, so right there you see, these buttons have been used, which is a good thing to notice. They turned it on. They were interested in going into their manuals, checking things whenever they did PMs. So that's another thing. And of course, the seat. The seat. The seat did have a tear in it, but we just replaced the seats. But that is common with any forklift, over 3,000 hours. You're going to have tears in the seat. So this is a simple fix. But now here's another big thing. Does it have all of its manuals? Used forklifts rarely have all their manuals. But when I see lease returns with all of the manuals, including the CD, you know that this has been taken care of. They're not wet. They're not. So this, see, it's ripped right there. This forklift is always, and it's not water damaged. This forklift's always been kept inside. This forklift was not used in inclement weather. So once again, these tires are very expensive. They didn't spare any. There's a bump right there, but this is solid, lead. There is a scrape in the lead right there. But see all this stuff? This is fiberglass. Okay, you're not going to. Technically, I guess you could bondo it, but see little things like this. If this was a highly abused forklift, stuff like this, you would see things that would indicate damage or wear. These are all factory LEDs. Has the blue light system, which is is something that they add on back in the 2020s. Now forklifts are starting to come with them. But when you have that, it usually means that this was an indoor forklift, maybe going around shelving, things like that. So the other thing you want to look at is this right here. This is the floor plate. And then you want to look at this. This is where this can tell you the environment that it was in. So even if you cover it with paint to seal it, if there's rust and other chemical reactions going on there, if you're in a concrete plant or it's a forklift from back east, you're going to see that. But as you can see on this forklift, there's no bubbling underneath the paint. This looks pristine. So that's what you want to see, because if you're in a corrosive environment, the water will get underneath there, it will rust. That doesn't mean that the forklift's not bad. I'm just saying when you're trying to find a forklift that's been super well taken care of versus something like this one. This is a 2019. Water, as you can see, water's been in there. So not that's a 2020 also, but that was probably used outside more. Here's another thing. This is an original seat belt. Okay, so these are the things you want to see. Does it still retract and work? This looks exactly like it should for $5,500 on a well taken care of. Now this is another area. Was the forklift, I mean, there were no bends. I mean, they took their time and they cared about. This is often another thing, this air vent right here. This will often be broken. It's plastic, but as you can see, it's in pristine shape. You can also take a look at this reverse horn right here. How much did they back up? How much were they going forward? This looks correct for the usage. So it wasn't overly used backing up. It's not beat up. It's not missing. It's there. So it didn't spend a lot of time backing up, which is even a better thing. So this wasn't a forklift that was used heavily going forwards and reverse. This is the original key with it right here. That key probably stayed in there the whole time. So, it's a 5-year-old forklift with 5,500 hours on it, but this has been very well taken care of. So your thin tips right here, this is your other tip. Technically, the forks are just fine, but this is, lots of times what they'll do is they'll just cut this off, and they'll cut that off to match, but this is the only thing that I can see, and it has nothing to do with the forklift, but that thin tip probably got twisted. So, but other than that, both of those forks are laying flat. The heels still have a lot of meat on them, so they're good to go. But otherwise, this is a very, very well taken care of forklift overall.